Good morning, and thank you for calling the Frankly Speaking radio program this morning, caller. And it is a very important point you had raised concerning the town of Spalding in northwest Clarendon. I took to the streets of Spalding this morning, and it had been a while since we had seen the streets of Spalding so orderly, clean, clear, and disciplined. Many of us would have been aware of the announcements that were echoing through the town of Spalding and Christiana for the past few days, where the Municipal Corporation of Manchester, and I would assume that the Municipal Corporation of Clarendon would have had some form of involvement, had made public announcements over the weekend that starting this Monday morning, the Spalding and Christiana Market will see an orderly display by its occupants. Therefore, they were encouraging persons on the street that they will no longer tolerate vending on the streets of Spalding and Christiana. So when I took to the street this morning, I recognized that Constable Oreen Henry of the Spalding Police Station was by no means visible this morning on the streets, and he would have been one of the most visible police officers keeping the streets clear and orderly. This morning, for some reason, he was not present at the time I was there. Yet, the streets of Spalding and Christiana were so orderly as if the Prime Minister or some heads of government were about to have a special ceremony. So, caller, I do understand your concern concerning the markets and parking facilities in the town of Spalding and Christiana. Thanks for letting us know on the Frankly Speaking radio program here on The Voice of Riches with the Action Man. So on the November 20th, 2020, I quote what Mr. Gage Finke says now. Jamaica has a rich history of colonization and is currently participating in China's Belt and Road Initiative, a global scheme. End of quote. How many of you, my listeners, this morning understand what Mr. Finke is saying? What Mr. Finke is saying is that Jamaica is presently participating in China's Belt and Road Initiative, a global scheme. And you may ask the question this morning, listeners, on this radio program or broadcast, what does that have to do with Spalding? Listen to this next line that I'll now read. As Mr. Gage Finke says, quote, each of the following options presents a possible outcome that Spalding High School may endure with the progress of the China's Belt and Road Initiative. End of quote. You may ask how this fits into my presentation on the Spalding market. Look at the developments that are happening in and around Spalding. Look at who are the people that are doing these developments. They are the Chinese. And look at the kind of infrastructure that they are building. Look at the measurement as in distance from the main road to the building, then you notice that they are creating space for future expansion, and they are also using modern facilities where most of these buildings will now be built of glass instead of concrete. There will be less concrete and more curtain wall known as glass. What the writer is saying here, the town of Spalding's infrastructures are changing as time goes into modern facility. And institutions, learning institutions such as the Spalding High School, now known as Alphonsus Davis High School, will benefit from the China's Belt and Road Initiative, a global scheme. How many of us know that? Therefore, whoever is in charge of this program, I ask the question, what can we know of the benefits that will be available also for the expansion of the Spalding market, for parking facility for the vendors, and what also will be the benefits for the taxi operators in the town of Spalding from the China Belt and Road Initiative global scheme. Spalding Market, Spalding Parks and Recreation, the library, the post office, it's all coming. But the question is, who is bold enough to talk to us, the citizens of Northwest Clarendon, regarding the China Belt and Road Initiative?
The Labour Party does not use or endorse the use of social media to attack people's character, to assassinate people's character, to spread misinformation. We have too many good news items, too many achievements that you need to promote without having to resort to attacking people. No, we deal with policies and programs and principles. People who don't have policies, who don't have programs, and don't have principles, they try to attack people.
You're listening to The Voice of Riches, brought to you by La Jamken Group of Companies, including Oxford Spring Healing Water, Flight Lando Express, AW Immigration Services. The Voice of Riches, your educational, motivational, inspirational program. Tune in and be blessed.